Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. Brother Ed here, getting ready to start the newest episode of G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast. Sorry, I forgot to pull up my notes for this episode. Geez, I'm just not doing very good today. Forgot to send the guys a link, forgot to pull up my notes. Oh, geez. Okay, but I'm here. I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get started with the show. One sec. I had to remove X from the live stream because X wants you to pay for it now. Okay. Now, as I was saying, let's go ahead and get started with the show.
G.I. Joe, the Real American Headcast, is the code name for Aaron's daring, highly trained headcast. Its purpose? To podcast about G.I. Joe, fighting Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
Hey, Joes. Brother Ed here, and we're here with episode 58 of G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast. This is going to be like a quadruple-sized episode because it's a very special and very, very great issue. So let's go and get started. Oops. Oh, I lost my sound for a minute. There we are. This episode is sponsored by Big Danny Cool, one of our big Patreon sponsors. So thank you, Big Danny Cool. So let's go ahead and bring out the Joes. First one up, we have Mr. Brad Abraham. And no weird nickname for you today, Brad. Oh.
Well, that is my weird name. That is my weird name.
Right.
Hello, Aaron. Thanks for having me.
Brad, good to be on, man. Glad you're able to join us. You had family.
Oh, I wasn't going to miss this one. No way. Oh, wait, is Raptor in this one? Or is
no,
that's in this one? Oh, he's not. Oh, man.
Yeah,
oh,
no, yeah.
Well, I'll hang around.
Oh, and by the way, for anyone listening, this is Brad's final episode. We're not going to have to search the name of a Raptor next episode. No. Also joining us is our friend from the land down under, David Finn. Hey, Dave.
Hello.
Glad you could join us.
Hello. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Brad. Glad to be here. Yo, Joe.
And also joining us, got the lawsuit settled, and he's back from his stint in one of the Folsom County prison, I think it was. We have Jared Ulrich, the yard sale drawer guy.
Hello. I come in like screeching at the last minute. I just got home from family vacation, so I don't have anything prepped as far as drawings. There's no drawings say I let you down. I didn't read the comic. I didn't watch the cartoon.
I'm not surprised.
I'm just here to do these nuts jokes.
All right. Get rid of him.
I was told that if I want to come back, I had to lick your boots. So
Yes, it was my boots.
That could end up being with a junk punch, though. You never know.
I paid for more. So anyway. Also joining us, our very good friend Kevin Reitzel, aka Raider Nerd. Hey,
I thought this was the Megaforce podcast because Jared sent me this Megaforce cartridge as a nice gift, and I kept blowing into it to see if it would work, but it's not working. So no,
got to blow harder. Hey.
Thank you again, by the way, Jared. I love this thing. Thank you.
My pleasure, sir.
So yes, I've got a full house here today. Everyone's showed up, so good to see everyone here. I know me and Jared's been missing each other. He's been having a busy schedule, and he accused me of looking at his date book so I can make sure I plan around the same time he's busy. I'm not saying that's true, but it's true. Oh. But we are here to talk about issue 58 of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. As we all know, anyone that listens to me talk for any length of time knows this is one of my favorite issues ever. Because as I've talked about, this was the first issue that I picked up that got me into collecting the G.I. Joe comic, which led me into the toys, which led me into collecting other comics, which led me to having like 30 long boxes out in the garage, or maybe 40, I forgot now. Bunches of long boxes.
Legend of money.
And why I'm broke today. So, but and also thank everyone out there in YouTube land watching. Feel free to throw your comments in the chat, and we will read them off on the air. So this is issue 58. So let's go ahead, and we've got the cover up. The cover of this one is Cobra Commander in the new battle armor. He's standing in front of his son Billy, who's laying comatose in a bed behind him.
Hold on. Where's the signed copy? Where's that one? Come on.
It is. Well, I've got it framed, and let me see here real quick.
You got to open with that, man. There you go. Yeah.
I've got it framed. Had it hanging on the wall, but when my son moved back home here a while back, I pulled everything down.
Nice.
Gave him I haven't finished getting things hung up. I had to pull this out and got it sitting back here behind me. It's displayed there behind me because, yes, again, thank you very much for that, Kevin.
Ah, you bet. That was fun to get for you. I knew how special that issue was, and I got that signed at the last Joe-Con in Chattanooga, the official G.I. Joe convention. The last one they had was in 2018. And, of course, Mr. Oh, God, what's that name? Oh, Larry Hama. Yeah, he was very the Godfather G.I. Joe. He was very kind in signing a lot of cool stuff. So, yeah, I had to get that for him.
Very nice. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'd watched the cartoon, and I'll tell a story again because I'm always telling it. But I was out at dinner or lunch with my mom and some of her friends. I got done eating early, so I'm gonna go next door to. There was a Thrifty's next door store. So I went next door to look around, and I was looking at the comics, and again I saw this on the rack. It said Cobra Commander Reborn. I knew this was Cobra Commander's new battle armor. I hadn't read the comics, so I didn't know who Billy was. So I'm like, who's that? Is that Cobra Commander in the bed and he gets reborn as robotic body, or what the heck? What's going on? I've got to read this. So I picked it up, and well, the rest is history. So fantastic cover.
That's cool.
Very nice.
Hey, I've got a quick mention.
Yes, sir.
Did you know that Larry Hama's suffering severe pain issues with his medical status? He posted something up recently, like he's really struggling to be able to draw and sign, and he's really struggling, unfortunately, with medical issues, which is sad to hear,
Oh yeah, no, that's he's a writer, but he's also an artist, and a great artist, and it's sad. He's getting harder for him to draw. I forget, muscular or something or another. And so when
I hope he's getting a decent chunk of change from Skybound, maybe,
hopefully,
because
I don't know contract.
I almost hope that he can sort of just enjoy, it would be nice because he's been on the grind for so long,
Oh yeah. No, he's been a working artist and creator for decades. So
like 50 years or something.
So he's been out there. So let's go and get some thoughts on this cover.
He was in MASH. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He was in MASH. Yeah, he was an episode of MASH. I didn't realize that until years later. I'm like, oh, Larry, okay, I'll go back and rewatch that episode. But he's fantastic. Exactly. So let's get some thoughts on this issue. Let's go ahead and start with Brad Abraham. Brad, what are your thoughts on this cover? careful.
You raised what? Oh, careful about what I talk about. Yeah, well, I think you kind of nailed it off the top, because one of my questions was going to be for you about this cover was, what was it about this particular one that made you pick it up and flip through it and go, oh, I'm going to buy this?
And yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it was just that
Cobra's new armor.
Yeah, well, because I was thinking it's interesting to look at without context, because you look at the Cobra Commander Reborn on it, and if you don't know who is on the gurney in the background, you could say, okay, who is that? Is that Cobra Commander? Is he now in some goofy robot body? So it is intriguing in that sense. We look at these sort of in the context of what we know of the series, but you kind of sort of have to place yourself in the context of seeing it for the first time. And I think that it is a very compelling image. It is a very compelling idea. It says Reborn, especially if you don't have an idea behind it. And if you've been following the comic, I've been reading along with it, like most of us had been back in the day, you'd sort of know what's going on, and then you see this new look, and you're going, okay, what's going on here, and why is it? So it's definitely one of those things that compels you to pick it up and read it. The only thing I don't really like about it, and this is just a personal thing, and I know I'm going to get a lot of grief for it, is I don't really care for the battle armor look for Cobra Commander. I'm a purist. I like the traditional silver helmet head, and I like the hooded version. I never really cared for the battle armor look. It's just a personal thing. I know a lot of people really love the battle armor, and that gets into a point that we'll probably get into much later in this episode. But technically speaking, I guess it is sort of a short-lived appearance, because eventually he comes back to that classic look. So that's the only thing I'm not really crazy about. It is very well rendered. I don't think it ever looks as good in the comic as it does in this particular cover, but that's just the one thing that kind of throws me off. At the same time, I acknowledge that it does the job of selling you on the book and picking it up.
And I can see where you're coming from, because later on in the 100s, he gets a new battle armor that I wasn't crazy about. So
that look, that's the silver.
Is that the one? Oh yeah. But yeah, later on, he gets the new battle armor, and I'm not crazy about that. I understand where you're coming from. So yeah, I won't ban you for that.
Okay.
Next episode, though, you better watch it.
Yeah.
And Dave, thoughts on the cover?
I absolutely love the cover. As you guys know, I'm kind of reading all this stuff for the first time. I think it's a really striking image. And can I say, I am, in general, much more fond of his classic look. But if I was a kid and had seen this cover, I would have bought it. I think it's a really good cover image, like a 10 out of 10. I think it's fantastic advertisement for the book. And what more can you do than that?
Yep, very nice. And Jared, thoughts on the cover?
Well, Brad kind of hinted at it too. Much like a lot of G.I. Joe covers, it revolves around how much your love for this version of Cobra Commander is, really. And it's not my favorite, but I like it a lot. Like, my favorite's probably Hooded, and then Silver Mask, and then this one, but they're all real close. I mean, what's kind of lost to time, as we talked about this on the show, is, it'd been a while since there'd been a Cobra Commander figure. It was like, since he is the main bad guy, I was like, he kind of needed a refresh, and I appreciated them, trying something new. Clearly, they had gone to see RoboCop, and they were like, we can do that. But I will give them props that it's a unique look. Again, your mileage may vary. Like, I know you love it, and that's cool. Like, the fact that there's so many different Cobra Commanders to choose from is great. And I love Battle Armor. I thought when he came out, I was very excited about it. So yeah, it really determines by how much you love of Battle Armor Cobra Commander. And even though he's not my top tier, I still think this is really great. I think it was great that he got a redesign. You need to keep your main villain fresh in a series like this. So I think this checks those boxes.
Very nice. And last but not least, Mr. Kevin. Very nice.
I'll chime in on the battle armor thing. Not my favorite, but I thought it's a very iconic look. And this issue really I also felt it kind of pushed the toy as well, because of how iconic the cover is. And I always refer to thumbing through old back issues of G.I. Joe at comics and conventions. And this is one of those that pop out. If I see a copy of this, I'll pick it up if it's in good shape and not too expensive. I've got 2 copies right now. And it's a turning point in the Cobra Commander story, which we'll get into. But the cover, I love it. It's just it pretty, and it's it's one of those. There's not there's sort of a scene that matches this one, which is kind of cool. But I remember the toy very, very well. And Jared, I liked how you made the like, oh, we saw RoboCop 2. I didn't even think about that. I thought that was kind of a cool comparison to that. But I remember there was always that weird little like hose thing that kept coming off all the time on the toy, and it kept pissing me off. But I'm more of a fan of the original look, just like most of us are. But this is a version I do like seeing, and I do like that in the finest costume group that I'm part of, we've had some versions of this Cobra Commander, guys that have done awesome jobs putting this together. And we did a fun little recreation of the Fred 7, shooting the Cobra Commander. Because in a way, if you're wearing a hood, you're not showing your face, anyone can wear the helmet.
Yeah. Very nice. So let's go ahead and get some scores on this out of 1 to 5 Yo-Jo Colas. Again, 1 being it sucks, 3 being
who did the cover, by the way?
The cover was done by Mike Zeck and Bob McLeod.
Here we have another one of those, because in my complete collection it says the inks are by Kim DeMolder again.
I don't know.
It's weird. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know. But
what do you think? You be the judge. You be the judge. Jared, go.
I be the judge.
Yeah, you be the judge. Who is this?
It is tough because I know Zeck worked with McLeod a lot, but again, in my book here, it's got Zeck and Kim DeMolder get the credits in the IDW hardcover.
Well, I'm just asking the guy that slept in his bed for the night, so I just want to know what the deal is.
Because there's nothing on the issue itself that says.
So I don't know
who the artist was. So I don't know.
Mystery. Maybe
it's one of the two. It's one of the two, I would think. If you made me be the judge, I would say it's probably this Kim DeMolder, because if you say Zeck with McLeod, that almost sounds like an easy guess. Like it's Zeck and I don't know, McLeod, because they work together so much.
Right.
Like Kim DeMolder is not a name you see a lot. And we saw her on this one. And I think the last issue I was on with you, we had the same chat, Aaron.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a mystery.
Well, Aaron, do you have Kim DeMolder's number? Maybe give her a live call on the show.
That's right. That's what I was just looking up. And apparently, see, again, I'm kind of sexist. Kim, I would think is a female, but apparently he's a gentleman.
Like the Asian version of Kim, I bet. Then,
well, he looks like a white guy to me, but
okay. Well, then we're guessing wrong on all corners.
We're totally all. He's American.
There was a famous Australian cricketer called Kim Hughes, so it can sometimes be a male name.
Sure, we're just guessing wrong.
You don't hear it often.
We are. Yeah, he was born in 1955. Yeah, he's an old white guy. But yeah, I don't know.
White guy.
I may have to look.
That narrows it down.
Yeah,
most comic book artist. But yeah, I may have
should he get cancelled? Should he get cancelled? Old white guy. There's nothing worse. How dare he?
Let's move on for one of us gets in trouble.
It's okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at his Facebook. Yeah, I've got 7 mutual friends with him.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to friend him.
Well, if anyone knows for sure, let us know.
Yeah, I'll have to hit him up and see what he can say about the.
It's such an iconic cover,
Yes, it is.
It is actually. Can I be honest? It's a great cover. It really is. Like, it's a fantastic cover.
You don't have to kiss up, Dave.
No.
But let's go ahead and get some numbers on this. 1 to 5 Yo-Jo Colas. I'm going to go ahead and start it out this time. Again, as I've mentioned, a lot of it due to nostalgic factor. My first issue, I'm giving it 10 out of 5 grape sodas. Because it's a Cobra related, we'll go ahead and give grape sodas. So I give it 10 out of 5. So let's move on to the next person, Brad.
I give it a 3 out of 5. The 3 is the gentleman's 4.
Wow.
So, it's fine. It does its job. It's not, there's a definite tier. And as I've said before, 3 is respectable. 3 is, most things are a 3. Most movies, most books, most TV, most everything, they're a 3. They're good, but they're not great or transcendent. And again, I think it's just that darn battle armor look. And yes, I agree with Jared that with the toy line, as the toy goes on, you have to kind of reinvent the villain. You kind of have to reinvent the character, give him a new look and everything. And they did that with this battle armor look. But it just does not get me excited like I'm sure it does other people.
And let's go and move on to the next one. Dave.
Well, Brad's kind of dialed me around here, but no, I'm going to go with a 5. And I'm not even, and frankly, I'm not even the biggest fan of Battle Armor Cobra Commander, but I just feel this cover in itself is a great advertisement, and that's why I'm giving it 5. Not so much for the Battle Armor in the comic, but just in terms of this cover, I do think it looks awesome, and I know weak-willed teenager I would have been if I'd seen this on shelves. I would have just grabbed it, for sure.
Like I say, it worked on me. So
yeah, it started your path of addiction.
That it did.
And I can tell you that 2000 AD Comics, the first comic I ever bought, was a similar crazy cover, and I bought it on the cover. And it can definitely, I feel these days we underplay the importance of covers.
Oh yeah.
So there you go.
And Jared, 1 to 5.
First of all, I've solved the mystery, and it's going to take a turn that none of us saw coming.
Someone completely different.
Yes. What I did is I looked up to find some CGC graded ones and see who they credit on the cover.
Right.
They credit Joe Rubenstein. So I've just done a bunch of digging, and I found the original art for the cover with the borders and all that, where the actual artists put their names on it. And at the bottom, it says Zeck and Rubenstein. It's a Joe Rubenstein ink cover.
Well, you're more in the business than I am. Why do we have all these different names associated with it?
I think it's one of those things that tracking of inkers was a little tougher than other things. So I think there is some guesswork out there, because I looked up and Kim DeMolder did ink a few Joe covers. And so I think what happens is people start getting into this and they're not sure, and they say, a little word of mouth. Oh, that's that's McLeod, or that's a Kim DeMolder. I found the original art online, and it says right down there in the margin, it's got Zeck and Rubenstein.
Oh, very nice.
Wow.
So
thank you for your diligence and your hard work there, Jared. You're a good man.
That's what I do.
Well done, Jared.
No problem. At least I did something, since I didn't read this book or watch the cartoon. Anyways, I give this cover a very solid 4 out of 5. I like it a lot.
Nice. Very nice. Maybe 4.5.
You could push me. Yeah, I'd do 4.5 on this show. Certainly. I think it is worth a half point for the Billy on the gurney, and a smart color choice too, because every once in a while I talk about my old friend, the color wheel, which I have laying around somewhere, which tells you which colors make other colors pop better. And red and green pop each other. So using that red crimsonish background with the green, the medical green of Billy on the gurney, nice work. So I will go an extra half point. Sure, 4.5.
Can I get you to a 5? No, just
I feel like we're on Pawn Stars. Best I can do is 4 out of 5. No, we'll do 4.5.
I'll take it. And Kevin, 1 to 5 Joe Colas.
Oh, I give a 43 out of 10 on issue 43. It's just, it's one of the best covers of all time. It's also signed by Larry Hama. But is this what you're talking about? This one? Oh, I'm sorry. No, this one.
Back to 40. No, 58. Not 40.
Don't know how that got into my head. I'm sorry. No, seriously, I'm going to give this a 4.5. I will give a 5 to your signed copy, but I'm going to go Jared. I'm going to go 4.5. Yo, Joe Colas, or in this case, it would be grape sodas for the knots. So 4.5. Yeah, there you go. That one's a 5.
See,
yeah.
It says to Aaron, Yo, Joe.
Larry, plus that cover might have some of my DNA still on it. So there we go. But that's another story. Anyway, there you go.
I'm going to use that and clone a copy of Kevin to keep around here. Oh. And on that note, before the law gets involved again, let's go ahead and look at the issue itself. So the title of this was called Desperate Moves. The cover was April of 1987. The on-sale date was January the 6th, 1987. The title was Desperate Moves. Already covered that. The writer was Larry Hama. The penciler, Rod Wiggum. Inker, Andy Mushinski. Letterer, Joseph Rosen. Colorist, George Russos. And the editor was Bob Harris. And as we talked about the cover credits, according to Mike's Amazing World, it's Mike Zeck and Bob McLeod. But apparently it was, who'd you say?
Joe Rubinstein.
Joe Rubinstein. So.
Zeck, Joe. Zeck, Joe. Zeck, Joe.
There you go.
So a synopsis on this one. There's two main stories going on in this issue. The main story is Dusty and Mainframe help a local militia group in the Middle East take out a convoy. For doing so, the leader, Professor Gamble, gives them transport and a guide to a hidden terror drone. The guide, a young boy named Rashid, admires the warrior Dusty and scoffs at the old woman, Mainframe. While getting the information to the Joes that they need, the trio are interrupted by Colonel Sharif's men. Dusty is knocked out, and Mainframe uses his intelligence to outwit the two soldiers. He then reprograms the Firebat to fly out and swoop back and strafe Sharif and his men on the outside. As our trio rides off into the sunset, literally, Rashid realizes that Mainframe is more of a warrior than he first thought. Meanwhile, in a nondescript mechanic shop in Denver, Incognito Cobra Commander brings his unconscious son Billy to Fred 7 to get help. While there, Fred shows Cobra Commander the new battle armor that he made for the Cobra leader. While testing the armor, they hear noises in the main shop. They go out and find Billy awake, whom Cobra Commander hugs and says that Fred is going to help make the boy all better again. So, let's get some thoughts on this. I'm going to go and give my thoughts real quick on this since, again, this
is your
show,
bro. Do it.
As I said before, This is my first issue of G.I. Joe. I bought off the stand. Again, like we talked about, this cover is what sold me on this issue. So that I had to buy it. And as we said, that's why I've got all this crap behind me now and I am broke. So thank you, issue 58. We do my next note on here. Again, we got brief notes just to leave for you guys, but we do see raptors, birds in this issue. Shut up, Brad. But the man himself doesn't show up until next issue. So my note here says Brad is safe for another episode, maybe.
I wonder what those birds would sound like if we could hear them. There we go.
Love it. I love the battle armor. As I've said, it looks really cool. I like it. Again, part of it may be nostalgic factor, but it is what it is. I love that Rashid starts thinking that Mainframe is acting like an old woman, dealing with computers. He later comes to respect him. And I like Dusty is sticking up for his fellow Joe and, got his back. And then the last note I have on here is one thing that stuck with me since this issue first came out and I first read it. I love the way that Mainframe takes out the two soldiers by, begging for his life. And they go to kick and he's like, yeah, go for the kick. And he grabs the guy's boot and knocks him over. That scene has stuck with me these decades later. So very nice. And let's go and move on to someone else. Give someone else a spotlight. I'll go in order just because it's easier on me. Brad, do you have any thoughts on this issue?
Oh, I have thoughts. Everybody take a knee. Okay. This might take a while.
Let's go ahead and move him off. Oh, sorry.
Well, there's a funny thing happened when I pulled this one out of the long box and seeing the cover. I had completely forgotten that the Cobra Commander Billy Fred version 7 storyline was the B plot, with the Dusty mainframe being the main plot. It wasn't until I opened it up that I went, oh, okay, yeah, I do remember this one, and I remember this story quite well. This is not a slight against the Cobra Commander stuff. Overall, I found the A plot line of this one a lot more engaging, whereas the Cobra Commander one is more about just building the world and keeping the main storyline going. What was really interesting, though, is when you take this issue storyline with Dusty and Mainframe out in the desert and compare it with Special Missions number 4, which came out at the same time, give or take a couple of months. I have this weird thing when I file away my G.I. Joe comics is when Special Missions begins, I kind of slot the Special Mission ones in amidst the American Hero ones, just because a lot of times they're in the same continuity and they're kind of following the same storyline. Right. The one that comes later on with Outback being pursued through hot territory is an example of that. But both of these issues, this one and Special Missions 4, really have a conflict over the idea of what is a soldier. It gets raised in Special Missions, which we will get to, and Larry seems to much give us an answer in this story on his closing page. And I'm not going to go into the Special Missions one because we're going to cover it here, and I know that Longbox, you guys have already covered that one, I think, too, because I imagined I listened to it. I may be a little off on that, but
I think it's coming up next.
Or it's coming up or something. I saw it announced or something, or maybe somebody somewhere else had brought it up. But the similarity kind of makes you wonder if some of Larry's experiences were rubbing off on that storytelling, and that you have two issues that come right around the same time, sort of dealing with the same thing. And I'm not so much talking about him being a Vietnam veteran, but because the Marvel comic The Nom had launched around this time. It's a nice full-page ad for it on page 20 of this book for it. And Larry edited that book in the first year. So the fact that two current G.I. Joe stories all tap into what it means to be a soldier, the perception of it versus the reality, kind of makes you wonder a little, because I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with the Nom comic here, but if you're not, it was really about the day-to-day of soldiering and in Vietnam, and whether working on the book as an editor gave him a purpose that he wanted to convey in this more kid-friendly title. I'm not sure. And but I have extolled on the NAM in the past, and I will again and again. And I would encourage anyone who hasn't read it to seek it out, but to seek out the individual issues, because those individual books all contain a letters call, and the deeper the series ran, the more you had Vietnam vets writing in to talk about the comic, to talk about their experiences. It was almost kind of like an early version of what you see now with a lot of social media groups and communities, where people come in and share their stories and everything. And then you would kind of lose that on a reprint or like a collected version of that book. And you see this on occasion at Postbox the Pit, but I just remember the Nom letter column really taking it to a whole other level and almost just giving you a new appreciation for the sacrifices that our soldiers have made, particularly in that war, but in all wars. That's a big digression on my part. But the funny thing is, and there's a funny thing here, the B storyline gets the cover because, as I said, I forgot when opening this issue that the main story was Dusty and Mainframe, and I legitimately thought my favorite whipping boy of the moment, Raptor, was going to make his debut in this issue, but it's the next issue where Big Bird makes himself seen and never again unseen or unforgotten, and I just wanted to say that.
Okay, how do I get rid of Brad? Oh,
you move to the control panel on this, and you press that little button that says kick, and I'm gone. It's a fun issue. I really like the storyline involving Dusty and Mainframe, and I guess we'll get into that a little bit more later. I did catch a little goof though, but I'm going to save that. I'm going to let everyone else talk first and see if anybody else caught it first. But yeah, overall great issue. I loved the main storyline. Appreciated the backup or the secondary plot line just to kind of move things forward. It does raise some interesting stuff, and it does end on a pretty big moment with Billy awakening from his coma. So, and that's going to have repercussions as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very much so. And Dave, thoughts on this issue?
Well, first off, I just want to echo what Brad was saying about the Nam comic, because that is a fantastic comic. And I do remember, I'm old enough to remember the letter pages, and they were cool. A lot of vets writing in. And yeah, Larry did edit it, I believe. That's correct. And what a memory. Great to hear someone talking about the Nam, because that was a great comic. This was a really cool issue. Frankly, Dusty and Mainframe had neither of them are my favorite Joes, but I felt, gee, Dusty's climbing the ranks as I read comics with him in it. I just find his look, it's just not my favorite look. But I really enjoyed this issue, and they're kind of playing in a weird sandbox, like they're somewhere in the Middle East. It's crazy. They're against rebels. Like it's a complex little story that sorts itself out. Mainframe went up a notch. I don't think of Mainframe much at all, but yeah, he was good here. Showed that kid who thought Mainframe was just a lame-o, similar to how I often think of him. But yeah, Mainframe and Dusty both climbed the rankings in this issue, and I did enjoy the subplot with Cobra Commander. Even though I'm not that fond of this Cobra Commander, who's kind of like the fake one, it was interesting. Put it that way. It was an interesting diversion. I guess I'm just used to the normal Cobra Commander rather than this kind of pretender. How long did this guy run as Cobra Commander?
Again, not to give spoilers, the battle armor lasted up through issue 98, 100.
We still have the real Cobra Commander.
So pretty long run
for the battle armor. So
yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to go too far into spoilers for next issue,
okay.
but
this issue has the real Cobra Commander for this issue.
Yes.
Oh, this is the real one. Okay.
Yeah, this is for the real Cobra Commander. Yeah. Okay, that's what. Yeah, that's why I said the battle armor sticks around till then. Cobra Commander starts off on it, but yeah. We'll get into that next episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Understood. So, yeah, no, very good issue. Lot to enjoy. And I've got to say, Dusty, if this was a ranking system, he climbed like 25 rankings points in a single issue. I must admit, I'm starting to come around on him, and that means I'm starting to come around on the classified figure, basically.
There you go. There you go. See,
so
I've always liked Dusty's look. Yeah, I've liked him in the cartoon. But yeah, this issue, like you said, really does a lot with Dusty, while Mainframe is the hero of the story, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dusty does quite a bit here. So,
and that punk kid, that punk kid talks a lot of oh, that's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. That's like Sam the Eagle. That punk kid talked a lot of smack about Mainframe, and he almost deserved a slap across the mouth for some of his comments.
Like Mainframe didn't let it worry him. He's secure in his his computer manhood and all that, and didn't care what this little punk kid was saying.
Yeah,
and, that's what Dusty's like. Yeah, real heroes. The real soldiers won't tell you what they can do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, speaking of real soldiers, oh, sorry, Dave, continue.
I don't know. I was just going to throw one more insult at the kid, but just a piece of trash as far as I was concerned. Yeah.
And yes, but in his defense, that's the culture he grew up in. Sure. That men use guns and blow people away, and so you can't entirely blame him. A lot of it is the culture he grew up in.
Sure.
At least,
but I do blame him.
At least he was smart enough to realize he was wrong, and he was willing to admit it. So that's a good thing. A lot of people won't do that. So speaking of not being wrong,
oh, hey,
being a real soldier.
I've almost had enough time to read the book now. Thanks for taking the time on that one, fellas. So,
I need to go to Kevin, let you give a few more minutes to finish reading the book.
No, I read the book. And yeah, I kind of goes back to what Brad was saying. Like the minute you start reading this and they introduce the kid who's just inexperienced, he's just a kid. So, he thinks that war fighters are what we all thought war fighters were at 13 years old. When I was 13, I knew I wanted to be in the military, but I didn't know I was going to be a comms and computers officer like Mainframe here. So that's how cool I am, by the way.
You thought you would be Dusty, you turned out more like Mainframe.
Yeah, really, honestly, yeah. 100%. But yeah, so
I guess real quick, Jared, I guess the question is, have you ever had a chance to use that move that Mainframe did to take out the bad guys?
About only 3 or 4 times. Only 3 or 4 times. But yeah, but what I was going to say about kind of what Brad was saying, like once you get 3 or 4 pages into it and you see the kids like, oh, Dusty's a real soldier, this guy's just a computer guy, you already know the Larry Hama formula. Like you're like I 1,000% know where this story is going. Right? We all knew Mainframe was going to kind of lay in the cut, and the kid was going to pick on him, and then the chips would be down, and Mainframe would show how cool he is, and Dusty's a good friend, and a good fellow soldier. So yeah, it's a nice little heartwarming tale of some Joes that don't get a ton of limelight. So that part was cool. But yeah, honestly, as much fun as that was, that is what I would call very cookie cutter Larry, which I think is what Brad was getting at. But it's still fun. But I was definitely more excited in Billy waking up and not knowing who he was, and Cobra Commander getting this his new suit of armor, and of course the tease of the Raptor. So yeah,
and I must say, real quick, I'm going to interrupt you. Hasbro Pulse has announced the Raptor figure.
I saw that.
And yes, of course, Brotherhead has pre-ordered it.
Excellent.
I just want to.
Is that as a classified?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. They've kind of revamped him a little bit, and instead of the wings like he has here, we'll see next month. It's more. They kind of like vulturized him.
Show yourself so people can see you.
Oh.
If you're doing something.
Goodbye, everyone.
No way. Thank you. I'm tired of talking to Jared anyway, so thank you, Kevin. So yeah, they've kind of marvelized him, if you will, and they made the wings metal, and you can pull him down in front to protect himself like a shield, and they're more realistic.
Does he come with a bird, surely?
Yes. Bird? Oh yeah. Yeah. He comes with a bird.
All right. Right on.
In fact, we can find. I'll throw it up here in a minute. So, sorry to interrupt.
That bird can fight freedom. That bird can fight freedom.
There you go.
I was pretty much wrapped up. I just had one question, just a technical question, and it's more on the art side. In my copy, when Mainframe goes to lick the boot,
right?
They didn't color his tongue.
Yes.
It's like completely white. Is that the same for everyone?
Yeah.
Or is that just in my reprint?
It's white.
Okay, so that's how it's been.
Yep.
And yeah, I was too busy with the whole scheme. I didn't even pay attention to his tongue not being the right.
I was just like, that is so weird, like a weird color choice. I thought, well, maybe they just miscolored it when they did this reprint, but it sounds like the original was probably miscolored, and they just were like, yeah, leave it.
Oh, see, I thought that was his. Okay, yeah, it is his tongue. Was it his lip or what? But yeah, that is white. Nice catch.
Yeah. That's all I got. Let's throw it over to Kevin.
Kevin, what you
guys kept saying raptors and birds, and you got someone's attention. Come on, Freedom had to chime in here.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom isn't free, kids.
All right. Yeah.
Love it.
So I wanted to first of all touch on the Nom thing that Brad brought up, because in the page there, I remember that catching my attention, and I thought this was very timely too, because the 80s were the decade of Nom films, and I wanted to go over to remind you guys, especially the year. So this issue came out in 87. Also in 87, Hamburger Hill came out. Born on the 4th of July would come out next year, a couple years later in 89. Then you had First Blood, of course, that really kind of introduced the trauma of that someone can go through. That came out in 82. And then you had Casualties of War in 89. Okay. Good Morning Vietnam came out in 87. Full Metal Jacket also came out in 87. And then the number one movie that everyone remembers came out a year before this is, of course, Platoon. And I remember, film. Yeah. And I remember that when I saw this ad for it, when I first got this issue, I was just like, wow, we've gotten hints to our characters that we love in this comic series being Vietnam veterans joining the Joes. And I really only learned about this through either movies and television programs and news snippets and stuff like that. And I jumped on that first issue right away, and I stayed with it for at least 20 issues, I think. I know it was a limited run. I don't remember how many, but I still have a lot of those. And I remember it was really nice to get, the people who worked. It was Larry Hama, like wrote some of these. Is that what you guys said? Right?
He edited it. Doug Murray, I believe, wrote most of it. Chuck Dixon also wrote a fair chunk of it.
And to Brad's credit, I remember, vets, chiming in on writing in and talking about the story, and it was a way for me to learn about the Vietnam War through a different venue and with wonderful illustrations, yet some of them brutal as well. And I thought that was a really cool thing. So I just wanted to touch on that. Thank you, Brad, for bringing that up. Written by Doug Murray and art by Michael Golden, at least according to the first issue of the cover there. This issue, the issue itself, one of the more iconic ones for me. And I forgot that it was the first appearance of Dusty because, watching the cartoon and doing these pods with you guys, Dusty comes in a lot. And sometimes you come in on episodes, you're like, why is he on this one? There's no dirt or desert, So I like that I was reminded that he gets the full intro on this. He's in his environment. He's a badass. And he's very cool. But for me, the story for me is Cobra Commander. I know that's kind of technically it's the A plot since he's on the cover. The Dusty and Mainframe thing is, I think, technically the B plot, but it moves the B plot stuff that we've seen from the terror drones and all that kind of stuff. Seeing Mainframe geek out, pulling out the old phone trick, and is that what he did? If I remember that, or am I getting that right? Can't remember. Yes.
No, he did.
Yeah. And showing his little trickery was great, but to me, it was all about Cobra Commander. And trying to save his kid and getting the battle armor. And also, too, for me, it's also the last time that we see the iconic, Cobra Commander in Tad retro outfit, because we don't really see that a little bit later, and this is kind of where he's still wearing his outfit, his Tad retro that he, wore after they escaped the pit. By the way, I'm wearing my pit t-shirt today. You can see. And so it's kind of like the last of that. And we find out later, things take a horrible turn, of course, for Cobra Commander. At least we think so. And so I liked that part of the story more because, and I'll go into more reasons later, but I like that he wants to do something for his son, Billy. And Billy survived the missile attack by scrap iron and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what I remember, and of course the cover.
Beautiful. And real quick, I did find we were talking about Raptor. If you can see that, can you guys see that? That's the figure what he looks like. Unlike Freedom,
cool.
I'm sorry. What was that noise someone just said? What the hell was that?
It's a mystery.
Yeah. I wasn't Freedom, I'm sure.
He's got the more metal wings.
Well, by the way, what's Raptor's bird's name?
Chip, I believe it is.
Chip.
I want to say Chip. No, I'm sorry, that's his name.
Chip looks like. I reckon Freedom could eat Chip.
I'm sorry, I was wrong. The bird's name is General Ledger.
Clearly,
General Ledger. That's funny.
A Ledger because he's
that's an impressive flight suit that Raptor has there.
Apparently, Raptor's real name is Chip Talon.
Okay, so you'll definitely be picking up this figure, won't you, Aaron?
Oh, I've already got it pre-ordered.
Okay, cool.
I've got it pre-ordered through Amazon. Him and Road.
He'd struggle to fit into a trouble bubble with those wings on.
With the wings, he won't be. He doesn't need the trouble bubble. He's got his own.
Doesn't he?
His own flight
method.
So he's good. So
that's pretty cool.
So just glance through the issue real quick. Again, we don't normally do this, but again, there's a special issue to me here where we see Dusty Mainframe helping them with the convoy. If you guys want to comment anything as we go through this, Brad, you said there was an error. Was it the tongue issue, or was it something else that you noticed?
Oh, yeah. A little goof I caught is on page 16.
We'll scroll through there and we'll get to that one then.
If you want it when you get there, yeah. When we get to 16, I'll let you know.
Must know now.
Also, this is what the comic book looked
Was
like.
there a misspelling in the ad for comics? Is that what we're looking at?
No.
This issue. This is what it looks like.
Thank you.
We get Cobra Commander rolling up in it, as Kevin said, in his retro look in the ambulance. We meet Fred for the first time, and we see Billy did survive. Well, we knew last issue, but we see Billy here in the back of the ambulance. And then we come back to the main story. Again, I always keep thinking that Cobra Commander is the main story, as you guys have said, because, again, he was on the cover, and it's Cobra Commander. But, yeah, it comes across more as a secondary, as the B point plots, because there's just a few issues here and there on it. So we get back to Dusty taking off. And I forgot to mention that I like Dusty takes off, and Rashid wants to take off after him, and Mainframe's like, no, you stay here. No, we're warriors. We have to go out there and face it. No, Dusty knows what he's doing. This is his element. We don't get him here very often, so let him do what he does. And, if we're out there stumbling around, someone's going to get shot that doesn't need to be. So you wait here, and then Dusty comes walking back with all those guns on his back. It's fantastic. Just shows what a badass in the desert Dusty can be.
Mm-hmm.
The reveal of the Cobra. We get the hints of Raptor. We see, I'm assuming that's General Ledger there. And we get the reveal of the new battle armor. And then we get Dusty and Mainframe and Rashid sneaking into the mystery base. It's revealed to be a terrordrome. Dun dun dun. Inner space, we get the testing of the new battle armor, so he can tear things up. He can rip it to an engine block, take bullets. And that's when they hear the noises from the garage. And this is where the bittersweet moment of, Cobra Commander saying, I'm here for you. Fred's going to make you whole again. And more to come that next episode. We get Mainframe. And when we get to the page you're referring to, Brad, we get Mainframe doing his duty, doing what he does, with Rashid talking crap about him the entire time. They send the information from the... What's that?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, he calls Fort Wadsworth, and the next page we see Fort Wadsworth, and this is where the mistake is.
Oh.
If you go back, yeah. So this is where the error is. And does anybody see what the error is? It's a visual one.
Is it the telephone?
No.
Spelling?
Nope.
Well,
nope.
Okay.
I will. Yeah.
I'm assuming maybe that the pit was destroyed last episode or a couple of issues ago, and the whole thing collapsed.
Yeah, it was, but that's not it. It is on the second panel. Scarlet says the blueprints and schematics that Flint and I required from Destro.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, if you read the issues, 57, it was Lady J and Flint, and not.
Oh, good point.
Scarlet.
Yeah.
Wait, you guys were reading
because Destro kisses her hand at the end.
Look at the big brain on Brad.
Wow, Brad.
Oh, if we all read the issues, we could be so cool like Brad.
Yeah. Mr. I read the books and remembered them for 5 minutes after the thing.
Oh, man, I shot Marvin in the
one
face.
Of three things. Number one, it means one of three things. Number one, Lady J has this weird fetish where she dresses up as Scarlet. Number two, Flint has a weird fetish where he asks Lady J to dress up as Scarlet.
That's probably
or number three. Yeah. Or number three, editorial goofed. They told Wiggum Scarlet when it should have been Lady J. He drew what was asked, then editorial screwed up again and asked for corrections, and we got this little error. So that's the error that I caught in this issue.
Well,
let's wait for the post office box to pit for the people to call it out. Okay, let's look for that maybe in about 10 issues
for a Marvel No Prize. For a Marvel No Prize.
Yeah. Unless they do something really sneaky, like not include a letters page for that issue, just to say, I'm not going to bring it up.
I think it's the Baroness has infiltrated. She's in disguise, and that's why she got the information wrong, because she wasn't there. anytime you see the Scarlet, wait, this isn't the cartoon. Never mind.
Dude, I was riding with you on that one.
And then we get the finishing up. We get Dusty getting knocked out. And then I love Mainframe dropping to his knee. It was, he disarms Rashid. He's like, see, I disarmed the little punk. I'm on your side. The guys are forcing. He's like, you liar. What the hell? And I like Rashid doesn't know nothing about it. So he's like, what the hell? You turned? What the hell? And then here we get the coloring error with his white tongue trying to lick the boot. And again, this page, I always remember.
It's like he had too many sour gummies.
Maybe that's what it was. Yes. Yeah. And they finish the mission. Here's where they send the fire bat out to strafe Colonel Shreef's men to allow them to get away. And here's where Mainframe's taking some Z's in the back seat, and Dusty just as real soldiers do the work and don't brag about it. They don't need the credit. So very nice, and very nice catch there, Brad, on the whole Lady J / Scarlet / Baroness / whoever that is.
Look, he's so giddy at that. Look at that head. Look at he's so happy.
Very nice. Very nice. Pat yourself in the back, my friend.
Yeah, he's halfway there to a Cutter costume. It looks great.
There you go. We'll keep you around for another episode. So that is just one sec. Get back to my notes. So that is the comic. Go ahead and move on to the next segment, the favorite page of art. Again, since it's my favorite issue and special to me, I'm going to go first and just
please do.
My favorite page of art, should have made that bigger, is the page with the battle armor. We get Raptor's bird sitting there and the battle armor. I just love the way that the sheets pulled off the battle armor, and we just get the pink highlight behind the armor, highlighting it, and just. Yeah.
Can I just make a comment about one of the panels on there that when I was rereading it, I kind of laughed to myself because Fred Seven's going, they're hawks. They belong to my accountant, who's a special project of your pal Destro's. Destro caught him poaching on Cobra property with specially bred and mutated hawks. Destro thought he might come in handy someday. And then you see the hawk with the thing over his head. And then at the bottom it says, in the meantime, he does my books. Is it the hawk or is it the
guy? Great question. But that's my page. If I had any page I could have hanging on the wall, that would be it. Reveal the battle armor. Next one, we're going to go in the orders. I've got these on here. Jared. This is Jared's pick. Would you care to talk about the last page with them riding off into the sunset?
Yeah, I like the last page. I think it would be a nice one to hang on the wall because it features, Dusty and Mainframe, who are big in this issue, and of course Rashid, who plays his part. And just a real shout out to the colorists for making a nice sort of warm desert sunset. So it kind of gives me a lot of things I like about the book. Like when I think about taking a page from the book, I think about what would represent it well. And I'm like, well, this is very much a Dusty and Mainframe story. And here they are cruising on in the desert on a motorbike into the sunset. That's fun. So that's why I picked this one.
Yeah, that was on my short list of pages also. I like that one. It was nice. The next we're going to go to Kevin.
Oh,
you gave me 3. So I put all 3 in. I wasn't sure which one you wanted, so I put all 3 in there for you.
The first one on the left is my choice. I love when Cobra Commander in his disguise outfit comes in and he does the special handshake.
Yes.
And then he's got the code words. He goes, "No, Fred, I'm prepared to give you the secret handshake and the passwords: greed, ambition, and ruthlessness." And you see the secret handshake. And then Fred goes, "That's correct. Then you really are Cobra Commander, your faithful CG at your service." Why we have not recreated this handshake amongst the finest costume group, I don't know why. Biggest missed opportunity there. But I just feel like, too, the password, greed, ambition, ruthless, that's like straight out of Gordon Gekko's like speech.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Wall Street came out later this year in December. So G.I. Joe, Cobra Commander beat Gordon Gekko to the punch by saying greed, ambition, and ruthlessness. as the code words there. I thought it was great. And plus, also, then you get the reveal at that bottom panel there on the left, if you're watching the screen, of course, when Cobra Commander says, "And I believe you are the only one who can help me with my son Billy be whole again once he's out of his coma." I love that scene because that is pretty much like the last thing that we get for Cobra Commander Tad Retro as well. So
yeah, very nice. Yes, that's great. That's a great panel, a great page. The next one I have here is David's pick. He wanted the splash page.
Oh, I loved it. There's a lot of good pages in this book, but the reason I love this one is it's just so action packed, but also you see Dusty there and Mainframe. From behind, love it. I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful page. But I do think there was a lot of good candidates in this issue for pages. Yep. But this is the one I would pick. Yeah,
I believe this is where George Lucas got the idea to give Obi-Wan the high ground. So well done.
I have the high ground. I have the high ground, Anakin.
I didn't get a page from Brad, so I didn't include yours, Brad. So what page did you want? No, did you send it to me?
I did send it to you. It must have got lost somewhere along the way.
wow.
I think it was one of Raptor's birds snatched it out of the air and torn it a little bit.
Intercepted by Cobra.
If it was, don't blame it on Freedom. He would have gotten you there. So I'm just saying.
I would never expect Freedom. Freedom would take my selection and carry it on winged path from Boston to California and deliver it gently onto Aaron's desk. So I know
exactly.
Freedom had nothing to do with it.
And you
I'll
did
be
send it to me.
quick for once. It's
it is
page. It is page 7. It's not 16. It is page 7. There we go. It's where Mainframe is chilling and telling Rashid to get the stick out of his ass and just relax, and Dusty will take care of it in the first panel. Then the second panel is a explosion in the distance with some cool sound effects. Then it's all Rashid's perspective, someone coming, carrying a bunch of weapons, it getting closer and closer. He's silhouetted by the moon. We know who it is. Rashid doesn't, because Rashid's I won't say it. But we reveal on the next page that it's Dusty, which is supposed to be a big surprise, but is not to anybody who's been paying attention, unlike Rashid. But I want to say I really like it. I just love the atmosphere of it. I love the explosion in the distance. I like the silhouette of Dusty approaching with the backdrop. It's just some very nice, classic visual storytelling, even though it's obvious we know who it is. And I just have to say overall that the art in this issue is really solid. I like Rod Wingham. I like his art a lot. Him and Mashinsky work together really well. I would say it's like chocolate and peanut butter together. They just really complement each other. And while we all have our favorite Joe artists, but in my personal pantheon, a Wiggum Mashinsky book is pretty close to the same level as a Herb Trimpe one. I sometimes use the word workmanlike to describe Wiggum and Mashinsky's art, but it's not meant to be an insult. I think workmanlike gets a short shrift. It gets the job done. It does it really well without drawing attention or going for words or compliments or commendations or anything like that. It tells the story, and it tells it really well, which I think is a very underappreciated art in comics.
Brad, I have a question.
You do? Yes, I have an answer.
Did you say chocolate and peanut butter?
Yeah. Is that not an Australia thing?
Wow, is that a US? I have never even thought of those two things.
It is. It is
Really?
The taste of
What?
the Reese's peanut. It's the taste of the Reese's peanut butter cup. It is the chocolate covered peanut.
I
butter
have
patty.
heard of that. I've never had it though.
Well, if they don't have it in Australia, here's what you do: go get a piece of chocolate from wherever you hide your chocolate supply, and dip it in the peanut butter and taste it, and then get back to us.
Right.
Okay, but hold on. I got to chime in here real quick, okay? Aaron, can you put us all on the screen real quick? Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, so I've been to Australia many times. My wife is Australian. Now, you got to ask for the American style peanut butter, not whatever you guys call peanut butter in Australia, okay?
Right.
Okay. And then you go get pieces of chocolate. Do like a milk chocolate first, if you like that. Then dip it into the peanut butter. and then we probably won't see you for the next couple of years. Just so you know.
So you have a different kind of peanut butter, because what I'm thinking,
yes,
I'm like,
yeah, your peanut butter is shit. Just so you know, you need American style peanut butter. Because I'm a peanut butter aficionado. I still eat it, still have it. Right. And when I tried whatever you guys call peanut butter over there, I had to go to the American style peanut butter.
Okay,
and they sell it
let's
there.
not put the US-Australian alliance in danger here. Like, I'll have to go and do some. Some research.
Shots fired.
Go to Kohl's. Go to Kohl's or Aldi's, and right. Kohl's ask for the American style peanut butter.
Yeah. You know what? I love Mad Max. Mad Max is an awesome movie.
Mad Max is great. Yeah.
I didn't realize had a different peanut butter over there. I mean, peanut butter is peanut butter.
That blows my mind. That is a foreign concept to you. The peanut butter.
Kevin's gonna watch his ass the next time he goes to Australia, because I think
really don't forget whatever conflict you guys get yourselves into. Whatever conflict you guys get yourselves into, we always come over with you.
I've tried your Vegemite. I don't get it. I'm sorry. Not trying it again.
George Lazenby
maybe
is awesome.
Aaron, Aaron, can you kick Kevin out, because I think we've had enough from Kevin right now.
I don't know.
Jared's playing the peacemaker. I
haven't tried
George Lazenby, Australia, Midnight Oil.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and
right.
back to the book. Let's go ahead and stop our talking there. Their peanut butter, whatever they want to call it. It's first I asked them. Speaking of Australians, last issue, there was that letter about the kid that wrote in that the issue was what was it, Bonza?
They got
Bonza.
him in
Bonza, mate.
They got him in like weird orders, right? Was that what the issue was?
Yeah, they weren't getting him all the orders, whatever, and he said, they thought it was So again, I know when we got to that issue or that letter, our buddy, let me pull this off real quick. So I'm not talking about that. Our buddy Dave was like, had a little weird look on his face, like, what the? No, that's not something we say. What the hell is that? So I've got another Australian friend, my co-host over on my Starbright Project. Podcast.
Yeah.
Hayden McQueenie, fellow Australian like yourself. I asked him about that. I'm like, I'm just curious. Have you ever heard of the phrase? What was it? Quick question for an Aussie. Have you heard
Bonza? I've heard of it. It's just not commonly used. I've heard of it.
Bonza. It may be an older word like from the 80s, because if I'm not mistaken, Hayden's in his like 30s. He's younger.
Shout out to Hayden, by the way. Last time I was in Australia in May, he reached out to me. We almost we tried to hook up in Melbourne, but I was getting ready to leave, and so he was very sweet. He reached out. We're going to try to hook up next time I'm there later.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
See, I told you guys reach out and contact each other. People I know, communicating. It's almost like I'm there. So. And
for the record, I'm married an Australian, so apparently that makes me half Australian. So I can't.
It does. Which is why you're allowed to make. Which is why you're allowed to make some of the comments that you've made so far. But because of the.
See, if me, Brad, or Jared had said it, they would be in our house right now.
Jared's like,
Olivia Newton-John is incredible.
Love her. Absolutely. An Australian icon.
Hell yeah.
I asked Hayden, I'm like, have you ever heard the word Bonza? He's like, I've heard of it. It's not common. It's more what an American would think an Aussie would say.
100%.
So he's the same note that you are. He's like, I've heard of it, but we don't say that.
It's like
by the way, God bless John Farnham, if you know who I'm talking about, Dave.
I sure do. It's like in the 80s and 90s, everyone thought Australians drank Foster's beer. No Australian drinks Foster's beer. But
I found out on my 21st birthday that was not a good idea.
I thought Foster's was Australian for beer.
There would be some Aussies. There would be some Aussies, probably more like far north, maybe very sort of what you guys would call redneck. They may say Bonza themselves, but you'd have to go deep into the sort of swamps.
Just say Bogans. Come on, you just say Bogans, Dave. You know what I'm talking about.
But even more than that, though, like almost like far north Queensland, I could imagine it. It would be. Some people would say it, but it would be a very small minority.
So I've reached out. I've talked to 2 different Australians from 2 different parts of the continent, and they both agree what the hell is this word? I've heard of it, but no, we don't say it. So.
We don't say
Don't know where that kid came
Oh,
from.
it's
Maybe
fine.
some redneck Australian. I don't know. But anyway,
It is more of a redneck Australian, yeah.
But yeah,
hey,
so I just want to
whatever.
share that. I did reach out to my friend Hayden, and yeah, he made the same, basically the same comment. Like, well, no, I've heard of it, but yeah, no, we don't use that. That's what Americans would think we would say. Oh, and that's the other thing I was going to ask you, Dave. What do you guys consider a knife? No, again,
that's better. That's actually cool.
Like,
yeah, that was actually cool. Yeah,
knife.
Good old Paul Hogan, love him. God bless him. Crocodile Dundee.
More 80s movies. I think some of us on this show likes the 80s a little bit too much. Come on, Kevin. But quickly moving on. Kevin requested me to pull in some advertisements from this issue.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on some of these here. I was a big model builder when I was a kid. I loved this ad for model builder. I love how they have this young kid with all these girls behind him, like, oh, look, check out the car he's got. But these MPC model cars, my dad got me into model cars. I got a lot of these. And I would often, and I love seeing these ads in these comics, I would often see them, and then I would kind of like mess with them a little bit and like make my own versions of cars and stuff and not stick with the plans. A buddy of mine taught me how to do that, taught me how to melt plastic. It was great. So I just want to give a shout out to that ad there. The other ad there, I love these little ads that have comics within ads, and especially this Captain Crunch commercial with Spider-Man. It's like having a little mini Spider-Man comic within a comic, and I thought that was great. And Captain Crunch was captured by the Sog Master because we do not like soggy cereal. And I love the ad says, will Spidey free the Captain before it's too late? He might if you can help him during the Captain sweepstakes. Box of Captain Crunch cereal. Have exciting games, clues, and secret phone numbers to tell you how. If you do free the Captain, you could be one of 10,000 winners to share $1 million. Can someone do the math, please? I don't know what that is. But Captain Crunch, and just it takes me back to reading the back of cereal boxes like we all did. Remember those guys? So,
yeah, I do. Yeah, wow.
So the question is, who remembers that advertisement campaign where the Captain went missing? And do you guys remember that?
So the next page, by the way, this prizes or cash. You have the picture for that one there, Aaron? Yes. So the one on the left here, this is Sales Leadership Club since 1958. Prizes or cash. Brand names such as Spalding, Ansco, Polaroid, RCA, Panasonic, and Tasco. Join today. Start earning big prizes or cash right away. And basically, they ask you to call this number. And they says, sorry, operator cannot answer questions. Only give address, zip code. Free phone service within the 48 continental United States. An 800 number, any hour, 7 days a week. Ask for free sales kit 10. Then give the operator your name, address, and zip code. And look at the address. Sales Leadership Club, 45 Warwick Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. I'm sorry, but if nothing says Cobra operation. Let's try to recruit some kids. It's that one right there.
Yeah.
And I love the karate ad there that you have next. I think that's great. And it says that karate martial arts catalog featuring Chuck Norris with free autograph photo. Century Martial Arts Supply in Oklahoma City. I wonder if that's a photocopy of a autograph. That's what I'm kind of wondering there.
Probably.
And just go to the last page real quick here. There is no post. There's two things about this issue that I need to ask you guys about. There's no post office box, the pit in this one. Instead, we have the holiday issues ad on Marvel Comics and the Welcome to Basic Training Dungeons and Dragons Master. Also,
I bought that basic set.
Same here.
Also, the cover. We have not addressed that the cover does not have a barcode or a comic Spider-Man logo thing on it.
Spider-Man.
Why is that?
See,
Cobra. It's a Cobra plot.
Some do. The one that you purchased for me.
There you go. So the two that I have must be the direct issue ones because they do not have it. Is that? Would you guys surmise that? I guess.
The one I have doesn't. I don't know if this is one I picked up originally.
Yeah.
Newsstand. Or if this is when I picked up later on at my comic shop. I forget now.
Right, so these must be the direct issue comic ones here. So yeah. Anyway, that's
how good is that Larry Elmore D&D picture? What a great picture! That Red Dragon.
Yeah, no,
was this like the 4th or 5th edition or 2nd edition or
this was the red box, the basic box.
I used the 1st edition
that was popular in the it was before 2nd edition came out. This is the basic version. They had Advanced Dungeons and Dragons going at the same time, but this was the basic one. So this is the one I picked that started off my lifelong obsession. And to be fair, I just think that picture is just so magnetic,
Oh no, it's fantastic. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I too picked up this.
I also always felt like that fighter is about to get annihilated by that dragon.
He's toast. But going back real quick to the prize and cash one, I don't know if it was this one or the limp. One of those I've done those in the past when I was a kid. I did call that Springfield number and joined Cobra.
Sure.
Joined up and did that for a short time. One was selling like
you're still a Cobra operative now, aren't you, Aaron? You're still a Cobra.
Did you get boxes of chocolates to sell? I mean, what?
No, one I did was I think one I did was seeds, I think possibly, but the other one I did was gift wrap and Christmas cards and things like that.
Gotcha.
Right. When I did that for a short time, got a few prizes from that. So just want to mention that real quick. Well,
that is it for the ads. Thanks for indulging me on that. I love looking through
anytime.
And seeing these.
And again, I was asked to throw this in there, so we've got.
Oh yeah. Like I said, let's bow our heads for 5 seconds and saying goodbye to Undercover Cobra Commander.
Pour one out for the homies.
There you go.
Very nice. And then we'll move on to the Real American Hero. This is a Joe or Cobra who stood out in this issue. So we'll go ahead and start from the beginning of my line here. Brad, do you have a Real American Hero?
Boy, I was going to say Mainframe, but I think everyone's going to say Mainframe. But I'm going to stick with Mainframe. Come on, the guy is badass. He's the one who saves the mission. He endures no small amount of snark from Rashid. And just overall, he's the vet who decided to go back into the service and focus on computers, which was very much an 80s thing for those of us who were there and still remember the 80s. So it's going to be
that's when I got my love for computers. Yeah, very nice. And I might add, not only did he pet up with Rashid, he pet up with Rashid without slapping the crap out of the little punk. So
yeah, exactly.
He showed a remarkable amount of restraint. Yes, but
he
was very chill through the whole mission. Really, there wasn't a single moment where he looked like he was going to panic or anything else. Except when it looked like he was panicking, then we know what happened. He tricked everybody. So,
yep. And Dave, who is your Real American Hero for this?
Well, I always love a bit of like 80s modem, like telephone, like it always seemed very sort of complicated as a kid in the 80s when you saw that kind of stuff, like in a war games or something. So I'm going to go with Mainframe, and he probably should have given that kid a backhander. He's there liberating his country or whatever he was doing. So would have maybe sent a message, send a message.
You don't mess with Americans.
Not to be tolerated. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Plant a flag or something, but no, Mainframe for the win.
Just because a man messes on computers doesn't mean he can't kick some ass.
Exactly right.
Right. Jared, you have a big thumbs up for the whole computer guy kicking some ass, and
that's right. We're tough guys.
You ever did smack around a little foreign kid, a little brown boy, just because he was talking smack to you?
Let's not go too far.
You're an old woman. And
I'm not afraid to fight children or old people.
Very good.
All right. If I had, I don't know. I didn't read this. So, Real American Hero. Everybody's going to pick Mainframe. So everybody's going to pick Mainframe. I'll mix it up a bit. And I guess most excited is to kind of see back it would be Billy. It's kind of, Billy's back, and it's exciting because Billy has no memory now. So there's a lot that Larry can do with that, and a lot Larry will do with that. And Billy's story is going to echo years. So I'll go with Billy.
Very nice, very nice.
Cool.
And
Aaron, can I just say I've got to go now because my guy's coming for the renovation. So is it cool if I just jump out now?
No,
okay, I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right, man.
I did. I also love the cartoon, so thumbs up and thank you for having me. Okay.
Anytime, man. Get you some peanut butter and have a good day.
Cheers. Bye.
Get some chocolate.
American peanut butter.
Bonza. Bye.
Bonza.
Bonza. Bye.
Thanks for joining us, Dave. And Kevin, you're a real American hero for this issue.
It's Cobra Commander. Come on. He's on the freaking cover. This is what the story is about. This is his transformation, which makes what happened in a few issues later on even more shocking. And he's becoming a father in this too. And I love that turn for Cobra Commander because we just think of this in early issues, especially in the cartoons. He's this maniacal guy who likes to, well, now I'm sounding more like Skeletor. But anyway, it's Cobra Commander. He's on the cover, and we see a turn in his character, and he saves Billy, and Billy goes on to have a wonderful story arc later on as well. So that's my Cobra Commander, real American hero.
Very nice. And it was a hard one for me. My heart wants to give it to Cobra Commander because, like Kevin said, he's on the cover. He starts to change here. We see more of that next issue. So, but I had to follow the mainstream, and I had to give it to Mainframe. Computer guy had that restraint not to slap the crap out of Rashid. The fact that he, again, the whole scene with him, going down to lick the guy's boots and grabbing his boot and just flipping him over and taking him out, just that resonates. That still sticks with me all these years later. So Cobra Commander was a close second, but I had to give it to Mainframe also. So let's go ahead and pull back, and surprisingly, that's what's next. Postbox the Pit. I've got notes here. Okay, so Postbox the Pit. As we used to do, I used to read off all the likes and shares and all that. But again, as a great man once told me, we don't have the time for all that nonsense. It's just the cream of the crop, if you will. The stuff that sticks out to me for one reason or another. I don't have time for everyone that comments, likes, and shares or anything, but it is greatly appreciated. I appreciate everybody that does like, share, comments, whatever you guys do. But these are just a select handful I picked out. First one I pick out is Joe Jackson. Again, thank you very much, Joe. He made a lot of comments on the Facebook, and when I posted the link for this episode, he said we couldn't wait to get back to it. So I threw in Joe Jackson. Also, there's Ryan Bombach. Again, he also commented, and we had a little conversation about when we posted about today's recording a couple of days ago, a week ago, whatever it was. We had some comments on that. Paul Kush, he's always posting, or Kush, I think it's Kush. He's always posting his G.I. Joe figures and other links and different G.I. Joe pictures on there. Don Man Art, he's always posting his 3D printables. Ben Wiley, he's always posting sales and other G.I. Joe things of interest. So thank you, Ben. And the last one on here is our very own Kevin Reitzel. He's always posting pictures of their cosplay and their stuff. So I enjoy that. Here, do me a favor. Shut up. No.
Can I give me admin skills here? I'd like to do some things.
Yeah, let me see. As long as it involves getting rid of Jared, you're fine. But no, I got Kevin on here because he's always posting pictures and commenting. And
okay, Raptor Bird.
I love seeing all your cosplay stuff, Kevin.
Thanks, man.
Also, again, I don't do as much on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, and Instagram like I should. I mean, need to start working on that better. But we do have Patreon. Again, Patreon is at patreon.com/headcastnetwork. On there, we've got a couple of sponsors. We've got Bill Bear, Gene Hendricks, and as I mentioned at the top of the show, our big donor, Big Danny Cool. So thank you guys all. And there's a few free people on there also, but these are the ones that pay to help the show a little bit here and there. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys very much. If you guys, again, are interested in joining the Patreon, go to patreon.com/headcastnetwork. And if you can't afford to join up, you can share, like, comment on the Facebook. That's all free. And that anything you guys do helps out the show. So I appreciate that. The next segment on the show is the Soldier of the Month. This is a Joe. Let me try it again. This is someone that's done something for the show or done something special or that you think deserves special recognition. I'm going to give this month to our very own, where's it at? Kevin Reitzel.
What?
Again,
this is a bunch of BS.
It is. Again, as I mentioned previously, Kevin was kind enough to get me the song.
I knew this would pay off when I gave that to you. I knew one day you would acknowledge this.
In fact, I may have given it to you for the same reason when I first got it, but it doesn't matter. This issue. So yeah, no, I there was a couple people I was going to go with.
If you look at it this way, this is the issue that got us all here to talk about our love for G.I. Joe. And so there you go.
If it wasn't for this issue, I may not be doing this today. So thank you
so much.
Kevin is our Soldier of the Month.
Woo! Take that, Jared.
Congratulations. Everybody clap for Kevin. No, I love Kevin. He's the best. He's the best.
So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Refill your water, your rum and Coke, wherever you guys got. And we'll be right back with the cartoon. Does anyone need to refill or anything? You guys good to move on? Okay. And let's get back into the show. Welcome back. Now it's time for G.I. Joe, the cartoon.
Yo, Joe! He'll fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. It's G.I. Joe against Cobra, the enemy, fighting to save the day. He never gives up. He's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
He never gives up, he'll stay till the fight's won. G.I. Joe will dare. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe.
Love it. And so this is, as I said, pull it back up. This one's called Memories of Mara. Director was John Gibbs and Terry Lennon. The writer on this one was Sherman Devano. Hope I got that right. This first aired November the 15th, 1985. And the synopsis from Wikipedia: the G.I. Joe team goes underwater to find a nuclear submarine called the Nurka and rescue a crew being held captive by Cobra. Helping in the search is Mara, a woman shipwrecked saved from drowning who has blue skin and was genetically modified by Cobra to be the first of many aquatic commandos. And that is Memories of Mara. So let's go ahead and get some thoughts on this. Let's go ahead and we'll go reverse order this time. Kevin, do you have thoughts on Memories of Mara?
Thoughts. What do I do with thoughts? I got a list here. There you go. That's for Jared, by the way.
You need more there. I say you need more. There you go.
Need more wrestling sound.
Okay. First of all, before I get in the notes of the actual show, a little trivia for you guys here, because I thought it was kind of funny, and I always notice this in the opening intro to all these cartoons, where you have the gigantic snake ship plane. All these fun battles that happen, but the opening intro, when Destro gets tossed around like a rag doll, in order, which Joes handle Destro? Anybody want to take a stab at this?
We just watched. No.
All right.
Roadblock was one of, wasn't it?
Bazooka, helped by Alpine with the rope, but Bazooka first gets Destro from the Cobra gunport, then throws him to Footloose, and then Footloose throws him to Roadblock, and then he throws him into the Dreadnoks, Buzzer, and Ripper. So
very nice.
Little fun trivia there. Lady J in a wetsuit. You know it's coming.
It's in my notes.
Hot. Just gonna leave it there. So Cobra Commando, Destro, and the twins are in a submarine. So the front of this submarine has got this kind of custom paint job. I think it's supposed to be a snake or a serpent of some sort. But it kind of looks like a weird like whale. I don't know. It was very, very funny looking. So and I love this was one of the reasons why I'm a big Shipwreck fan. I love Shipwreck in the cartoons. And we get Shipwreck and Polly on the USS Trogan, and Polly wants to see some actions. That's a quote from Polly. I love that, you get some one sentences in there every now and then. Polly says, I want to see some action. I did question what type of action. So the captain of the USS Trogan here, his name is Captain Hunt of the USS Trogan. I hope his first name isn't Mike.
Well, I may have left a little hard lashes with that.
Love the fact that we see a drowning girl with Cobra with gills. At first, I'm like, wait a minute, is that Baroness? Is she? What's going on? But of course, it was not. And then boop, 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 boop. Toy alert. Let's sell some toys here. We get the Deep Six, of course, with the shark, Skyhawk, Mauler, right? If I remember correctly, the Cobra water moccasin. So a bunch of toys here, and a very, very brief appearance of the whale before it gets blown up. I was sad, just so you know. Let's give a shout out to Gung Ho with his laser rifle sniper, helped save Duke and the Skyhawk. Cobra Eel's appearance, by the way. That's what they're called, right? Cobra Eels, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I thought this was an interesting thing, and I hate this when I see this in movies where people will use a gun or a knife to overcome their, the bad person, and there's still a threat out there, and they drop the weapon. The Gill girl escapes with the elk and then drops it in the water. I'm like, come on, really? And then number one rule in the water, you don't mess with the shark in the water. And I love seeing the shark in action. I thought it was great. Lady J and Shipwreck arguing about Mara, the Gill girl. And Shipwreck goes, how would you like to lose 10 pounds from the neck up? Mara, Amphibious, Cobra Commando. Hot. Doc got to the rescue here and helped Mara with a fishbowl helmet. I thought that was an interesting thing there. And like I mentioned, a second for a whale sighting got destroyed in like literally 2 seconds. Mara kisses Shipwreck when the Nocts attack. A little tender moment there, but then they get attacked. But then Shipwreck and Mara, they're falling in love. That was very, very sweet. She helps hot diving Lady J and Joe Diver troops. And what the hell? Lady J says Shipwreck is not an experienced diver. I'd call BS. Come on. He is an experienced diver.
Let me add to that because it's in my notes as well. She says he's not an experienced diver, but Alpine is.
What? Yes, exactly. Shipwreck's
an experienced mountaineer.
To wrap things up, underwater station battle. Mara is setting up explosive devices. I know it's supposed to look like C4, but it looks like gigantic pieces of gum. And I don't know if I mentioned, but she saved Hot Scuba Lady J and the Nurka crew. And sad, Shipwreck loses his Mara mermaid at the end. And it ends abruptly, by the way. But there you go. Those are my thoughts.
Never to be seen again. And no, I had similar thoughts when she said, yeah, Shipwreck's not trained to be a diver. I'm like, really? I would think so. I mean, maybe not, because I know just because he's a sea person.
I can't see you. Let's get you on the video there. Let's get you on the video. I don't need to see me anymore.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I guess maybe just because he's a sailor, maybe he isn't trained to be a diver. But yeah, no, it's a good point that he's not trained, but Alpine, I don't know. Anyways, Jared, do you have...
I have some notes.
No? Okay. Did you watch this episode? Did you have your brother watch? You took his notes. Oh.
Let's just see how many notes I have that match Kevin's notes. My very first note says Lady J's blue dive suit, ... hot question mark.
I see I have rubbed off on you, sir.
We're leaving that statement alone. I did make a note. This is a safety note overall, but it also applies to the show. You should tell someone before you jump off of a boat to rescue someone else.
You think?
Yeah, because Shipwreck just if Paulie hadn't said anything, they would have never known that he was gone.
I think he was following something other than,
right.
Yeah.
Right. I made a note that Captain Hunt is pretty cool. Like, he was a pretty cool dude. I could do with a Captain Hunt figure.
Yeah.
They didn't ever find out his first name.
I know what it's not York and it's not Mike. That's all I know. Gung Ho is an incredible shot. What was it doing? Did he shoot a ship or a plane? It was something with one shot. It
was a missile.
It
was a missile that was shot that was coming to shoot down the whatever that thing's called. I keep forgetting now.
It's an incredible shot. He gets it in one, and he's shooting from the deck of a ship, which is particularly hard because it moves up and down as well. That's incredible. I wrote down Bluefish Girl ... hot question mark. I wrote down the Cobra.
What question mark?
I wrote down the Cobra submarine was kind of cool. That's a toy that would have been neat.
Yeah,
except for the front end.
Yeah. This is maybe my favorite note because when Shipwreck first saw that girl, the fish girl, the mermaid, I wrote, so she was never really drowning. She's just a really terrible swimmer. How is a fish girl a terrible swimmer? Because she looked like she was drowning. And then they come to find out, oh no, she breathes in water. Then why does she look so terrible out there in water to begin with?
Well, in her defense, she's not a natural fish person. So
all right, she's getting used to being a fish person. Yeah, I definitely made the note. Did Shipwreck just threaten to decapitate Lady J?
Yeah.
That is something. The fire bats use the TIE fighter sound effect. I'm sure y'all noticed that.
I did not.
Yeah, the fire bats, they sound exactly like TIE fighters from Star Wars. And I wrote this down. The pace of this episode is relentless. Like there's not a frame they're not doing something.
It was tough to take notes.
It was.
Yeah.
I made a note that orange dive suit Shipwreck looks cool, and then my immediate next and final note was, wait a minute, Shipwreck isn't an experienced diver, but Alpine is. We talked about that. So there you go.
Very nice. Yeah. Brad, notes.
Well, I'm not going to go into any specific ones because I always know that Kevin and what's the other guy's name again?
Jason?
Jared. Who could forget Jared? Jared. You guys always do really good on the specific notes. I always feel like I have to step up and try to come up with something interesting to say, and I usually fall flat. But this is going to be one of those cases, probably, or maybe not. This is one of those episodes that kind of stuck in my mind years ago, which is saying something, because I think a lot of them you kind of say, okay, I remember this one, ones you don't. And I think it's just because one of those episodes that focuses on Shipwreck and doesn't make him just a cartoon character / caricature of Jack Nicholson in The Last Detail. And what I like about this one is it briefly gets into the mechanics of why people join Cobra in the first place. This is one of those things that's always in my head canon. It's kind of always bugged me. It's like, okay, what makes people join Cobra and put on the blue pajamas and wear the scar, wear the mask and the helmet and everything? What makes them do that? And this episode tries to make some sense of that, because we expect the guys who are in it for money or just the mercenary types looking for a new war to fight. But here you have Mara, who joined Cobra of, in her words, what she calls a hard luck neighborhood where right and wrong doesn't matter and no one is your friend. And that is surprisingly, strangely plausible. When you think of, if you're trying to rally people to your cause, you don't go to the people whose lives are great and are humming along nicely. You go to the people who aren't necessarily doing so well and aren't necessarily in good straits. And those are the ones you go after, because those are the ones you can sway to your side and say, well, look, it's join Cobra because the forces of law and order and the U.S. government and the world governments are against you, and that's the reason you're kind of struggling and failing. And they promise you a new way forward, and they promise you a sense of community, camaraderie, and regardless of your political affiliation, radicalism takes many forms, and it's usually where someone at the top of the heap benefits from convincing the ones at the bottom, kind of carrying them along and everything by joining their cause. And it's very weird to say, because this is really an episode of a half woman, half fish named Mara, but it ventures into some pretty deep and interesting territory. Deep territory, pun intended, that is, that the comic was more known for. And again, it's just one of those little throwaway lines that kind of stuck with me. And it sort of makes me wish for more stories along these lines. We've seen it in the comics. We saw it in things like the Chuckles Cobra, The Last Laugh. And we've seen that in other iterations. It seems there's been a lot of exploration of what makes Cobra tick and what makes people follow it. And speaking of digressions, I know I mentioned it before, but I discovered a middle grade book series called G.I. Joe Classified that kind of resets the board and kind of recasts everything into a high school type of setting with younger versions of Scarlet and Snake Eyes and Baroness, and much better than my crummy depiction.
So hold on, it's Saved by the Bell G.I. Joe?
Yeah, kind of. And you know what? It's a lot better than what my terrible description just now suggested, because it taps into the mechanics of how a Cobra might work in today's world. You go after the people who are alienated, the young, the impressionable. You target them through smartphones and apps and VR headsets, and you just kind of indoctrinate at will. But it's an interesting thing to keep in the back of your mind as you go through both this comic and the cartoon, is to think of what makes people do these things. And I think that's Cobra, kind of the classic villains that don't get enough respect when you talk about 80s begun franchises and stuff like that. There's actually a lot more going on with Cobra than just Cobra Commander being a buffoon and going after world domination and things like that. But in the end, I think we all agree that Mara ... Say it, Kevin. Say it.
Hot.
Caliente.
Yes. And that's what I got.
Very nice thoughts. Yeah, some good thoughts there, Brad.
You sound shocked.
I am. I wasn't expecting something deep out of you. Yeah. Especially the Bass Raptor and, Dr. Mindbender.
It happens on occasion.
Oh, crap. Anyways, my thoughts, again, a lot of repeats, but Paulie wants to see some action. My next note on here to following up on that is Shipwreck is going to see some action. But again, next note says Mara ... Hot. And of course, if Kevin's on the show, I'm going to follow up on his comment, or lack thereof. Like, he's not going to comment on a hot blue chick that another figure we could have used one of. But anyways, we had the Skyhawk. I like the Skyhawk. There's no trouble bubble, but it's a cool aircraft. I like the Skyhawk. Again, as you guys have mentioned, Shipwreck's threat to Lady J. How would you like to lose 10 pounds above the neck up? How are you going to make her lose 10 pounds from the neck up? Are you going to decapitate her? Or I don't quite understand that threat for one of your friends. That's a little, I don't know. It's kind of harsh. I do love when the Dreadnoks show up. Great characters. Next note I have on here is that if Mara needs water to stay refreshed, touching her, that she needs water on her skin so her skin doesn't dry out, why not swap out that Cobra Commander or that Cobra full bodysuit for one of Hot Lady J's? That's got, it's less swimsuit, more water can touch her skin, and we can see more of her being hot. But that, and then my last note on here is, again, we never hear anything else about this project. Like everything else, it just kind of goes away and never be heard from again. Those are my thoughts on this issue or this episode. Kevin, I think Jared said it was a little hard to take some notes on this. For one, it was just so breathtaking, full speed ahead. Plus, I said I like this episode, so it's hard to take notes because I'm watching the episode, taking my notes, and then I'll stop and I'll just sit there and, oh crap, I'm supposed to be taking notes on that. And that's after watching it once or twice, just to actually watch it. So I watch it usually once and then I watch it again and take my notes. So yeah, no, it was hard to take notes because I kept getting distracted by the show itself and just watching it. And again, both Lady J and Mara, Kevin knows.
Hot.
But that is G.I. Joe, a Real American Headcast for this month. Gentlemen, do you guys have any, Brad, do you have any other thoughts on the issue or the cartoon?
I do have thoughts. First, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be here next issue for the debut of Raptor. I'm going to be on a holiday for much of August, and we're going to be traveling a lot. I just may not be able to get online. I know you're upset about this, Aaron. I know you're just heartbroken that I might be here for the debut of Raptor in the comic, which is why I'm going to say something about it right now. Raptor is, from the bottom of my heart, Raptor is cool. He's cool. And the reason he is cool is because G.I. Joe is such an awesome toy, comic, story-related property. It can sustain a character like Raptor, and it can make him feel plausible. And it make him feel real in the context of both the cartoon and the comic book series. You can have Snake Eyes, the Origin parts 1 and 2. You can have Silent Interlude, and you can have Raptor, and it all makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm seeing this because I'm in a bit of a reflective mood these days, because I realize that this month marks the 40th anniversary of me starting to collect the G.I. Joe comic. My first issue was issue 28, which was out this month, I think 40 years ago. So this is kind of a landmark, and it's had me thinking a little bit about my G.I. Joe fandom and what I like about it and why I keep sticking around with it. And the fact that I've held on to those comics and a lot of the toys would indicate as much. But what I'm trying to get at here with Raptor is, with G.I. Joe, you can kind of pick your own particular niche, whether it's the comic or the cartoon. It can be the Devil's Due run. It can be the IDW run. It can be stuff like Resolute or Retaliation. It can be the Energon universe, which people are really digging right now, myself included. And whatever you pick, there's going to be fans who share your love for that particular element, whether it's a character like Raptor or anything like Cobra Law. And I will not slate anybody for liking Raptor. I don't particularly have any big issue with Raptor. He's not my favorite guy, but I like that Aaron likes Raptor, just like I enjoy that people enjoy Cobra Law. And when they announced the classified Raptor at San Diego Comic-Con, I read some of the reactions, and some people liked the redesign, that Marvel Vulture redesign. Other people didn't like it, but I think all of them were all, well, if you like it, get it. If you don't, but don't yuck someone else's yum, and don't bag on somebody for liking it, which I think is a really fresh breath of air when you consider the overall state of fandoms in 2024. And that's just kind of one of the things that I wanted to say. I'm gonna have to turn my virtual background off here because I have something to do that won't show up otherwise. Let me see. Here it is. It was because of Aaron and Kevin and Jared and everybody else in this podcast that talking about these characters and these stories kind of makes you reassess where you stand with them. And it is because of that that I, at no inconsiderable amount of money, picked up a classified series, Zartan, for myself.
Yes!
Just to have.
Yes!
And we know Brad, the Zartan hater, Brad at zartansucks.com, does not like Zartan. He does not prefer Zartan. But you know what? Looking at my shelf, my small growing shelf of Cobra classified figures, I looked at it and I went, you know what? I need a Zartan. So
I love the card art on that. That's really cool.
Yeah. He's
well played. Well done.
Yeah. So I debated on it and I grabbed it. And I don't know if I'm going to grab a Raptor or anything, but we never say never. It's not looking good, Aaron. I got to tell you. But
that's right. I'll one.
There's a line that some lines that I can't cross. And like I said, with it's not kind of like with Zartan. He's not my favorite bad guy, but I respect him. And with Raptor, he's not my favorite Cobra villain or character overall, but I respect him and I respect people who like him. And that's all I ever have to say about Raptor outside of an issue specific context. So there's my thought.
And again, I give you a lot of crap about not liking Raptor, but yes, I appreciate the fact that we have that little joking around how you joke that you don't like him. We know you're a big Raptor fan, but Yeah, no, I appreciate your thoughts. It was very nice thoughts. And I said my main problem with that Zartan retro figure you have is it's not totally retro, as he didn't come carded. He came with the chameleon, and they should have came with released him with a classified size chameleon. But again,
that'll be in a re-release, I'm sure.
I'm sure they give that release everything. And real quick before we move on, Heinz Koch joined us late in the chat. He said, sorry he's late. Hey, Heinz, glad you could join us. Better late than never. Kevin, any other thoughts on the issue or the cartoon?
I'm just grateful that stories like what Brad said, and also what you said as well, of why we like to talk about G.I. Joe on this podcast, and whether it's revisiting certain things and characters. I remember the day I decided that I had no problem with Ewoks, and it's because of raising my stepdaughter. And I was getting to a certain age, and I'm going, you know what? These guys are actually pretty badass. They eat people, and I know they probably ate some girl to make sure they got Leia that hot outfit, So, reading these G.I. Joes and watching these cartoons, it's just, we can find little things to obviously make fun of and stuff like that. But as we always say, this hits a certain nostalgia for me, especially this issue. Not just because it was, what brought you into the G.I. Joe world too, but for me, I remember reading this. I remember getting it on the comic book rack, and it's one of the really cool, iconic covers out there, and leads into a very interesting storyline that I'm very fascinating and following with. So, and as I said earlier, the comic or the cartoon is the reason why I become a Shipwreck fan, and why it became my first costume that I submitted for the finest costume club that got me into the club.
It was great costumes. I love seeing costumes. But Shipwreck didn't get a lot of love in the comic, but in the cartoon, he was very much of a jokey.
And this
Nicholson,
the Pyramid of Darkness miniseries was what kind of nailed it for me. I'm a Shipwreck fan now. This is my guy.
And episodes like this shows why someone would be a Shipwreck fan. Very nice. Jared, you were shaking your head. Any comments or anything you want to throw out?
The way you guys are so passionate about this makes me really wish I'd read these comics and watch these cartoons.
No, I do appreciate you guys taking time out.
Don't ever change, Jared. Please don't ever change.
Yeah, you guys all have your families, and Jared has the strippers. I appreciate you taking time out your days to hang out with me and talk about these comics from 40 years ago, and watch these silly cartoons from so long ago when we were kids. That look back at them and.
Hey, I'm loving Tubi for these reasons. I have them on DVD, but Tubi, it's favorited in my Tubi home section. I am ready to go. I don't mind watching commercials to watch these. It's weird seeing up-to-date commercials, but hey, it's the way I did it back when I was coming home from after high school or whenever these were coming out. So
I got the DVDs also sitting here on my shelf right here next to me, in fact. But I usually watch it on Tubi, so I have to pull them out. I just watch it on Tubi, and I've got it favorited, and I watch it there, and fantastic. So for those at home that don't know, you can Tubi. They've got the all the G.I. Joe episodes on there for free. You have to watch commercials every once in a while, but it's a great place to watch some G.I. Joe. And they've also got commercials. So, again, I appreciate you guys. And for those out there listening, I know Heinz just joined us. Thank you for joining us, Heinz. And anyone else that's out there I know my son came out earlier when we were talking and he was whispering, Dad, I'm watching your YouTube thing.
That one guy clearly hasn't read the comics.
I don't understand why I had that one guy on. He doesn't read the comics.
What value does he add?
I just like that I got to say, look at the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, that worked out well. Brad's all like, I read the comics and I remember them. Issue. Look at me.
Well, we keep Brad on. We'll miss you next episode, Brad, but we may have you on the phone. I don't know. Depends on your attitude. Oh.
And congrats on your Zartan figure. That thing's cool looking.
Yes.
Cool. Oh yeah, I'm gonna open them up after this recording's over. I'm gonna go open them and put them on my shelf.
There you go. And for those out there watching, make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. Down there's a like and subscribe. Make sure you click on both of those buttons and be notified when we have new shows. We do this show the fourth Sunday of every month at 1:00 Pacific time. Also, the third Friday of every month, I normally have my unboxing, which I unbox something and review it. Last time we looked at the Cobra ferret and a couple of the figures, so definitely check out those episodes.
I'm going to unbox this bad boy right here soon, right there.
There you go.
Eagle Force Maverick Ace Hunter figure. Look at that.
So for more on me, check out all my shows on the Headcast Network. My headcastnetwork.com website is down due to billing issues and Gmail hiding my emails for a while. Again, I talked about that. They hit emails from Brad and you guys aren't responding. You guys aren't coming. Then, then I'm looking at my spam folder and there's emails from them. There's emails from my hosting company. Hey, your website's coming due, to renew. And oh crap. And wasn't going to pay an additional $80 to renew it after the fact. So it went away. So, but I do have headspeaks.com back up and running. You can go to headcast.headspeaks.com and I've got all of my podcasts on there. So again, go to headcast.headspeaks.com, or if it's easier on you, just go to headspeaks.com and there's a link to my main website, which talks about me and my insanities. And there's also a link on there for the Headcast Network. You can check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/GI Joe. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/@g.i.joe_headcast. Again, I'm on Instagram as Headcast Network. I'm on Twitter, even though I don't do as much on, I guess now it's X, as both Headcast Network and also GI Joe. Check out those. And you can email us at gijoe@headspeaks.com. And also, you can pull that up. You can call and leave a message on our voicemail line, 559-500-3182. Again, that's the voicemail line, 559-500-3182. Leave a message. I can play that on the air. And yes, as Jared's pointing out, it's down there scrolling along the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to go through the list I have on here. Jared, if people want to hear more about you and your insanity.
Okay. Yes, I can be found at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, and Instagram. You can check out my artwares at www.theyardsaleartist.com or perhaps www.ididnotreadit.com. It's not a real website. And if you want to hear me talking about podcast stuff, and we got a little G.I. Joe coverage over there. We've been focusing a lot on the Devil's Due era. It's all at Longbox Crusade. You can check us out. Longbox Crusade, pretty much any podcatcher, or you can check out Longbox Crusade on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Short version, Longbox Crusade. Who's next?
David had to leave early, but David is at the Signal of Doom. He's on Facebook and everywhere else. So you look for the Signal of Doom. Check out David's podcast. Kevin Reitzel, aka the Raider Nerd.
You can find me on all the social medias at Spartan_Phoenix. Of course, that's X, Instagram, Discord, Letterbox, all that stuff. And of course, you can find me on Facebook at Kevin Reitzel. But also, please check out the Fandom Podcast Network. That's the network that I co-founded and also co-host with my buddy Kyle. And we cover a little bit of everything. And if you're a fan of Star Wars, Star Trek, Highlander, Marvel MCU, we're covering it all. And right now we're also covering what's that?
80s movies.
Oh yes, we're covering the year of 1984 this year, month by month.
Woo, Purple Rain.
A lot of the movies that came out are 40 years old, and there's some classics like Ghostbusters and Gremlins and Back to the Future. Yeah, it's a loaded month. It's great, or loaded year, excuse me.
Very nice. And finally, Brad Abraham. Where can they go if they want to hear more about your work?
If they want to, they can check out my website, bradabraham.com. I am running my Celluloid Heroes series again this summer as I work on a much longer Celluloid Heroes nonfiction book about Gen X cinema. This past month, July, I just put a piece up about RoboCop 2. And I encourage everyone to give it a read because I actually have a personal and professional connection to RoboCop that I delve into a bit as well. But next month is going to be fun, August, because it's all about the most 90s movies movie of the 1990s. I, of course, speak of Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers. So be sure to check that out. And Jared, I wanted to shout out, I listened to the first episode of your Indiana Jones and the Long Box Crusade podcast. And Jared's going to be going through every issue of the Marvel.
That's correct.
Series?
Every issue, The Further Adventures of Indiana Jones. Episode 1 came out. Episode 2 is about to come out. I've already recorded the first 5, so they're monthly. Nice. I think it was a 30-something issue series. We're going to cover each of them.
33 or 34. I'm saying this for 2 reasons. One, because I actually own every issue of that book.
I smell a guest appearance.
I'm not saying that because I'm fishing for a guest appearance. It is just a statement of fact. I own every single issue.
Is there an anthology that has all of those issues?
Get this. Go.
Oh, good.
Go.
You got it, Brad.
Tell him. No, you tell him. Nope, you're gonna go.
Well, you may have more to add. At Jared's fancy house, that I have them all hardbound, but I know that after Dark Horse got the rights, they reprinted the Marvel ones in omnibus.
Nice.
Omnibus. I think it still takes a couple volumes, but that's what I know about 3 prints. Brad, if you have more info, then go.
Back in 2008, when they released Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, there was a huge merch push for it. And yes, Dark Horse reprinted all of the Marvel books in 3 omnibus editions.
There you go.
And they also reprinted all their Dark Horse titles as well in different ones. And I remember reading them. I grabbed the first one from our library, but apparently it's either the second one or the third one is super, super hard to find. Like it goes for hundreds of dollars in the secondary market. So over the past decade or so, anytime I go into a comic book store and I would be looking to buy something, even if it wasn't anything really appealing to me, because I don't like walking out empty-handed of any comic shop, especially when I'm visiting. And I would go through the Indiana Jones section and see what they had, and I would just pull out every Marvel issue they had, and I would just take them. And I think in the end, it actually ended up being cheaper to go buy the individual ishes, the individual monthly issues, than to buy the collected edition, because the collected editions are super insane. But I managed over the last decade,
I love those series. They were so
every single issue of 33, 34 issues, and every issue of the adaptations as well. So Raiders and Temple and Crusade. And those are the only ones they made, the only Indiana Jones movies they made. So I have all of them.
And before we go, there we are. I forgot to throw a couple things real quick. Kevin asked me to throw that slide in there, so he already gave a quick shout out earlier to Jared for that. But there,
this is just a classic example of guys doing favors for each other. I was listening to my favorite podcast he does is the Action Film Face Off, and he had Action Jackson is one of the movies they covered, and he had mentioned, and I didn't know this, that there was a movie that they did. There you go. Dangerous Passions. That was a movie that came out later on that was marketed in other countries as Action Jackson 2. And I'm like, I got to find this film because he says he couldn't find it. I found it on Laserdisc, and I have the ability to record. I have this really cool recorder to record from Laserdisc to DVD. So I hooked him up and even made a little DVD copy for him there. And he hooked me up in return and got me the Megaforce original Atari cartridge that I've been trying to find my hands on. And being a big Megaforce fan, thank you very, very much, Jared.
Very nice. And I love it when Joes can help one another out. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yo, Joe.
Very kind.
Fantastic. And again, I do want to say, I want to thank you for everyone that was watching live. And thanks to those listening to the podcast. I want to thank you. And again, extra special thanks to my guests, David, Brad, and Kevin. And Jared. Yeah, we cannot forget about Jared. I try. But anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Remember, until next month, knowing is half the battle. Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.
Yo, Joe.
Need more enthusiasm.
Thanks, guys.
And as we go out, we will.
was awesome.
Awesome.